Back for some Call of Duty, y'all. Still chilling with my homie, Neb Heru.
Good work. Rest up for the next
Neb Heru.
push.
Still there, brother? I don't know where Neb Heru went. I was passed out.
I'm here.
Oh, shit. What's up, brother? But you passed out.
Get out, man. I'm fucking the game. I'm
Okay.
passed out. You crazy.
No doubt.
Domination. Take control.
Oh.
Go! Capturing Charlie. Mission begins now. Enemy Charlie locked down. Enemy has Able.
What up,
Enemy
y'all?
recon aircraft observed.
Cripto like. Do yourself a favor. Subscribe.
Enemy controlled space.
Oh shit, where they at though? Cripto like. Oh.
Enemy recon aircraft observed.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, got an update for you guys. Stay tuned. We're gonna be playing. Me and Neb Heru gonna be playing Defiance and a couple of other cats. Gonna make the cut. That's coming on the upcoming videos, y'all. So let me know what y'all think about that. It's a game called Defiance. Let me know if y'all wanna see some gameplay on that. We're gonna do it regardless.
Incoming enemy artillery. Get to cover. Securing Baker.
Give me 1 second, y'all. Yo, Neb, so what you were saying about the Egyptians, yeah?
No, I'm just saying they're the same natives. They're the Aboriginal people.
Yeah, what you were saying that they came here first?
The Egyptians came here first, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so that the native people, the Aboriginal people, are the descendants of the Egyptians.
Right.
When they say Egyptians disappeared, they didn't disappear. They just left.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go back to that country now, and there's just
like, I'm actually thinking
people there now.
I'm thinking when they talk about, like, how the Bible fucking talks about how the Jews left for 40 years when they were walking around in the desert in a small little circle for fucking 40 years.
Right.
I honestly think the truth is, instead, because the Egyptians are also Israelites, not Jews, but Israelites, and they're one of God's chosen tribes, and I believe they're the ones that left, not the so-called Jews that we have that are in the Bible, which is a fictitious story. But I think that it's the actual Egyptians that left. That's why they disappeared.
Get to cover.
Only here at the Cripto Light channel, folks, you get that knowledge, that info, anything you need, you're gonna get it here live and direct, y'all. Hit that sub, hit that like button, that share button, and that bell button, y'all. Show some love, y'all. And donate $1 to the Broke Latino Foundation when you guys get a chance. Chilling here with my boy Neb Heru. Spitting that knowledge, y'all.
Get to cover.
So yeah, what do you feel about the Epic of Gilgamesh?
I don't even know about that as well. You gotta tell me a bit about it.
Yeah, me neither. I just constantly hear it on Discovery Channel and it sounds really cool. They call it the Epic of Gilgamesh. Tonight at 9 o'clock.
I don't know, I think it's like a flood story or something about a flood, which I'm thinking it's just the main story of the flood.
Right.
Which, the earth works in cycles and there's always a flood that's going to happen once the earth is trying to balance itself out.
What's your take on, I don't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry, brother. What's your take on the flat earth theory and everybody going crazy? They don't know if the earth is round, if it's a sphere. I mean, an egg shape.
Honestly, my opinion, the earth is flat. I believe it's flat.
So, like, do you have anything to support your claim?
On the fact that the Earth is flat?
Right.
Well, the first thing I would probably say is because the lens that we use on every type of camera or, well, the majority of cameras that are used, let's say, for filming the Earth is always on a fish lens, is always the lens that they use for the camera. And that's what causes the curvature that we see when we're looking at the Earth.
Right.
But if you actually use the proper lens for camera, every time you raise the camera up as you going higher in the sky, the horizon is always staying level with the camera as you're going higher, which means that it's a flat plane that's extending outwards as you're going up into the air. There's a whole bunch of reasons.
What's the highest you ever been physically, personally? Up in the sky? What's the highest building or bridge, whatever you've been on?
The highest I would say is in a plane, however high that goes.
It's pretty high. What kind of view did you get from them little windows on the side?
Not the greatest, but I did have a window seat. You don't really see much. That's part of the problem. The windows are too small, which also makes me wonder why they're that small. Yeah, those little tiny circles with that little thing that you could slip up and down to block it like a blind.
So what do you think you could see on the front of the plane? What do you think the pilots see?
Oh my god. The pilots, I don't know, they're being told shit. That's all I gotta say. They gotta follow what their teachers tell them. If they ask the wrong questions, they're not gonna get their job, right?
Kill the enemy, get
So,
their tags.
you saying that they see everything from the front of the plane, regardless if they talk about it or not. Like, imagine what they see, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure whatever it is they see, they probably have stuff in their courses that they take that explain away what they see. I don't know. I can't really speak from their perspective. I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy T Money 910. Make sure you hit me up on OG 187 Clan. Holla at your boy on YouTube.
He said, ha ha ha. He crazy. God, like. Yeah, what do you feel about the what is that? The it just slipped my mind. What you feel about that Philadelphia experiment?
We're breaking their backs.
That's crazy. If what I was researching on it is correct, though, for the Philadelphia
like,
experiment.
what were they trying to do? Like, what was their, like...
Well,
I know I heard a lot of shit went down.
Yeah, for sure. It was a joint experiment that was supposed to happen between Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein to come up with a theory to be able to make ships. Originally, their plan was to make a cloaking device so that they'd be able to cloak ships that were over the water so that the enemy wouldn't be able to see them, right? And what their plan was to do was to make like how would I say it the best way? It's an electromagnetic bubble that encompasses the outside of the ship, like the complete, like imagine the ship being in a bubble that is like on a frequency, an electronic frequency that like makes the bubble thicker, almost like a shield or a dome around the ship. And then what they were going to do was to fill the inside of the ship with a type of gas, or how would you say, like I don't know what the exact stuff they were putting in it, but there was different gases that they were using that are supposed to be non-lethal to people. And when you put the gases together inside of the bubble, it caused a reaction with the vibration of the electromagnetic force field that they had around the outside of the ship, and it actually caused the ship to disappear and then reappear somewhere else. The thing is, once the ship disappeared and faded out, right?
Yeah.
It
make sure you put your the video on your YouTube if you're not playing the game. Go ahead, I'm listening. My live stream.
Yeah. So what's it called? They pretty much, when the ship disappeared, what happened is when the ship phased out, it was almost as if that, as it was disappearing, all the particles kind of separated, and then when it reappeared, it all reappeared together. So all the people that were stuck on the ship were like kind of smelted into the ship, or were part of the wall trying to escape and this and that. And it was because as the ship phased out of like physical reality to enter through whatever the portal was doing, it as the people phased out, I guess there was nothing to, like, let's say, balance the people's molecules from the molecules of the ship. So when it came back into physical reality, they were kind of like fused into the ship, like everything all hardened all together. There was nothing to separate the human molecules from the ship molecules, and they all got like fused in the ship. Some people that actually didn't get fused were having problems with like mental problems and going crazy, and like multiple personality problems, and like all kinds of different types of disorders happening.
They had a lot of side effects.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. But it was a real thing though. But the thing is, what they were trying to do was making a cloaking technology chip, and it didn't end up working.
The cloaking thing.
Yeah, and then they ended up making a type of portal, which who knows if they perfected that technology by now. Because if they did, they wouldn't be talking about it.
So they opened up another portal to what? Exactly. To what? Where?
Well, that's the thing, because they don't know exactly where the ship went. That's the thing. The ship was missing for maybe only like, I don't know. I don't know the exact timing, but let's say the ship was gone for 10 or 15 minutes, and then it reappeared somewhere. Let's say in the waters near Russia, and they don't know where. They don't know where or when the ship went, because I guess and maybe they have information on where it went. That information has just never been put out that I was able to find. So I don't know if it went anywhere in particular, but all we know is it just disappeared. There was missing time, and then it reappeared somewhere else on another part of the Earth. You know, so
that's kind of a similar story I heard too.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much feel that they perfected,
I'm pretty sure they probably perfected that stuff now.
The doing with this technology, right? Sure.
Well, I don't know, man. That technology could be used for all kinds of stuff. Just imagine.
Like, give us an example.
But like
your wildest, craziest nightmares. Imagination.
Well, let's just say if the Earth isn't flat and it is round, and other stars and planets are out there, wouldn't you want to set up a portal on the other end so that you can easily transport things to make a base, or to be able to make things? Or let's say if you want to build things underwater, instead of having to transport everything all the way down underwater, you can build a facility to contain the portal and send all the materials directly down underneath the water. So you'd save a lot of time and manpower for building stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
those are the positive things
well,
they
that's
could
the positives, but yeah.
Okay. Right. Welcome to the channel, y'all. It's your boy Cripto Light. My guest here is my boy Neb Heru, and we're going into the sciences of everything. The Book of Enoch, the City of Agartha, the Hollow Earth.
Oh, that's crazy.
We're going into the different realms and the dimensions of
See, that's the thing. Anybody who believes in the Hollow Earth theory or Agartha and all that shit, they will end up realizing that that's only possible with the Hollow Earth. I mean, with the flat Earth, like, because the same time Admiral Byrd came across Agartha and the Hollow Earth is the same time he realized the Earth was flat too. So when a lot of people try to argue the fact, it's like, if you believe in the Hollow Earth or Agartha and all that shit, then you're gonna end up realizing flat Earth too.
Wow. Yo, I never heard that one before.
What, flat Earth? Yeah, because okay.
No.
Well, you know about Admiral Byrd.
Hollow Earth and the flat Earth thing together. And Admiral Byrd.
Okay, think about it this way:
one shot.
The Earth is completely flat. But even though it's flat, it doesn't mean it doesn't go hundreds of thousands of, who knows, maybe even millions of miles down. You know what I mean? So, like, as far down as you can go, we still have hollow Earth underneath us. So the hollow Earth theory, whether it's a globe, it doesn't have to be a globe for it to be hollow. We could be living in a
shit. I heard
we could be living on a big ass slab of rock, but in between the rock is hollow still. You know what I mean?
Grapes
Like,
is the size of oranges in the city of
yeah,
Augusta.
but the thing
What's
is,
all that about?
yeah,
Is this I got something to do with the atmosphere and another sun? I mean, tell the audience what's going on. Tell your boy Cripto Light what the hell is going on.
See, I really don't know too much about how all the stuff grows in there, but I heard about all that shit, like how everything grows big like that. But I will say that it is possible to grow shit like that because there's already people that are doing different types of projects where they've been able to grow stuff like that and been able to grow, let's say, grapes that are the size of oranges that are the size of, let's say, cantaloupes.
Yeah, we know the genetically modified and stuff, but I'm talking about like straight natural. I heard natural.
But that's what I'm saying. There are natural ways to grow it like that too. The only problem is they don't teach us this because they don't want us growing super foods, they don't want us turning fruits and vegetables into superfoods.
Check this out, right? One time I seen this documentary on TV, right? I forgot if it was Discovery Channel, whatever, right? They changed the atmospheric thing in some type of tank they had, air suction tank, or they modified the atmosphere in that tank or room, whatever it was, right? With a certain fish that was in the water growing, right? They were feeding it. And that fish grew, I think, 4 times bigger than the normal size.
It's supposed to. Okay.
Right. So they manipulated the atmosphere around it, and the fish grew bigger.
There's other ways.
So they're saying that, like in a natural state, the experiment was trying to say that, Cripto Light. I just murked all them cats right there. Sorry about that. But they was trying to say that the atmosphere was different back in the day. That's why everything was bigger. Like people were bigger, animals were bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, but see, that story for me when it gets to like the giantism stuff and all that, I'm starting to feel that if the Anunnaki stuff is true, and I believe the Anunnaki stuff to be true, that's where we get giantism stuff and giant fruits and giant stuff from before. But at the same time, there's also proof that there's trees that are huge, like miles big, that like you could be walking on this land and it's a truth. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These things are real though. These aren't fake, you know what I mean? We had giant trees and stuff like that, and we had bigger living people, but that was also around the time, if it is true, and I believe it to be true with the Anunnaki, that they fell to Earth, and when they fell on Earth, they obviously mated with people, which created anomalies, and those anomalies tended to create giantism. People that were growing at an accelerated rate until they obviously got bigger than, let's say, 7 foot. That's for sure. You know what I mean? So
like, I was asking you all these questions to basically set you up for this question here. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Yeah, I believe in Bigfoot.
That's what I'm talking about. What's your opinion on what the hell it is? What is it? What are we working with here?
See, I really don't know, man, because there's not enough information to really make a proper idea of what Bigfoot is. But
have you not seen the millions and the millions of YouTube channels that talk about Bigfoot?
Yeah, but the thing is, even though they talk about Bigfoot, it's like, where are they getting their information from? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't.
The only solid video I ever seen personally was the Patterson film, right?
Videos, I really doubt that most of the videos are even real. Like,
the only video that I put money on is the Patterson film.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar with all the videos for that in particular. I have seen some, you know what I mean, but I wasn't looking into it to know the different people and the different videos by and so on. So I don't know. But like, yeah, for me, it's one of two things.
Oh shit! Shout out to Cave Boy, yo.
For me, it's either
Bye, good night.
What's it called? Genetic manipulation.
Enemy holds the hard point.
And
right, so you think Bigfoot's like half man or half gorilla or some shit?
Exactly, but it's either that it was genetic manipulation done purposefully or naturally through natural selection of animals that were forced to mate together or chose to mate together. You know what I mean? Or it could have literally been done like a test tube baby type thing with another species, and they just dropped them off here. Who knows? Or maybe or maybe it was experimenting with the DNA on this planet and created a Bigfoot. Who knows?
Yes, sir. You got a good point. Another thing with the Bigfoot thing is my theory on the Bigfoot, right? You want to hear my theory?
Yeah.
I feel that whoever it is that keeps Bigfoot from us, the reason why they would hide that, whoever is empowered to do that, I think if that shit can actually talk, that would be a good reason to be like, yo, you can't let nobody know about this.
Enemy holds the hard point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like, because at the same time, I believe Bigfoot to exist, and I also believe that if Bigfoot exists, and they talk about the Yeti, which is like Bigfoot, but it lives in colder climates, I believe like if anything, it was a species, and if anything, just like how different species have different versions of themselves or cousins, or different interspecies that are related, the Yeti would just be related just like Bigfoot to each other, like cousins. You know what I mean? So it's like that would prove that there's more than one species of this type, if it is true, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, it's very possible, because at the end of the day, how many species did we have that were around and then died off because they couldn't survive? You know, so it would make sense that this is just a species that was not meant to live, or at least meant to survive.
But imagine Bigfoot can actually talk.
Yeah, but who knows, maybe it could.
That would be a hell of a reason.
I heard the craziest shit the other day, and I never knew that, and I was like so surprised, where they're talking about how one of the things, it was a video I was watching on YouTube actually, so I can't remember exactly who I was watching the video from, but it was something like the 5 things or the 10 things the government doesn't want you to know about, mainly because it would cause mass hysteria and panic or people to get scared. But they found out, I don't know how long ago they found this out, that gorillas have the ability to read your mind. And they just say they've never told the public that because they don't want people to freak out. But they can actually read our minds.
Like and subscribe, y'all.
That is?
The boy Never Rule, Cripto light, and the gorillas being telepathic, y'all.
They say that how they were able to develop it mainly because of how they learned how to read body language. And they read body language so well, they said, to the point that they could tell what you're doing just as you're about to do it, because of how your body moves or reacts, or as soon as you get up, they could tell whether you're pissed or you're mad or you're happy or if you're just joking, or like they can always be able to read. And because of that type of learning that they've learned as a learning curve, they've been able to learn how to read your mind and your reactions to things and how you do things. And they don't want to tell people that because it is a type of telepathy, you know what I mean? And it makes me think, though, because not everybody's privy to this information, because I know not a lot of people know this, or else it would already be out there, easy to find, you know? And it made me wonder, because Stan Lee somehow came across this information, because he has the character there, Gorilla Grodd, right?
Right.
Is it Gorilla Grodd? But is that Marvel? I can't remember if that's Marvel. But whatever.
Yeah.
Whichever character it is, but Gorilla Grodd was a gorilla that had telepathic, right? And became so smart because he was telepathic that he was able to talk, which is the whole same concept that we have with the gorilla.
Like the character in that game Injustice, the big gorilla.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or some shit like
exactly. That's exactly it. That's the same information I came across.
You know that? I remember.
That's exactly. Also, it's Injustice, eh? So it's DC. Yeah, you're right. It's DC. My bad, not Marvel. But not Stan Lee. But the creators of DC, they must have came across that information too to create the character for Gorilla Grodd.
Right.
So it's crazy.
Gorilla Grodd. That's his name.
Imagine that though, fucking gorillas can read your mind. Yeah. Imagine that next time you go to the zoo. Watch what you think.
That's probably why when you be jumping up and down and all that, they look at you like, man, you ain't nothing but a punk. Sit your ass down.
Exactly.
You know you ain't about to do
because they know exactly what you're thinking in your head, right?
Yeah, like this dude really want me to like go, get up out of here.
Exactly. But that's what
like,
it is,
I used to think that all animals were like that because they more in tune with nature. Just my opinion.
A lot of them are more the monkeys. Let's say for telepathy and that type of stuff. Dolphins are a lot too.
Like what about dogs and cats?
See, that's the difference though. In my opinion, because I can't remember if it's the dogs or cats. The way they see spirits and ghosts. They don't really have like the telepathy thing. They can deal with energy and emotion. They can sense and feel if you're happy or you're scared or you're sad, and they can smell that too. So if you're full of fear, they're gonna smell that you're in fear, and that's when they get up and they may start barking just to scare whatever's scaring you.
They can see ghosts and all that. That's
crazy. Exactly, and they can see spirits. Cats see spirits better than dogs do, but dogs can see them also. But more dogs, they don't pay attention to that stuff, so they're not going to start staring at it. But if you have a cat will see a spirit a lot easier than most other animals will.
Wow.
Like a cat will just sit there and start staring at the spirit, and they'll watch it moving around. They literally sometimes it'll play with it or try to follow it. And yeah, cats are more. That's also why cats were around for the Egyptians a lot, because the Egyptians dealt with a lot of magic, and when you deal with magic, cats are also like a guide.
Enemy recon aircraft observed.
Because if you're dealing with spirits, you want to be able to see them or know where they are. Especially if you're trying to put a spell on it or try to stop it from doing something, you want to know what direction to talk to. Exactly where they are. You know, you might be standing in one corner trying to bless one corner and it's hiding in the other corner. You're not really going to do a proper job, right? Yeah, man. There's lots of reasons why the things that they kept secret, man. But that's also because the Egyptian culture too is real big. Like they were when it came to magic and alchemy, they were like the top of the world. They were like high society. Like most people don't realize, but the pyramids, when they were created, and yes, they were created by the Egyptians. It wasn't aliens and all that shit. When the pyramids were created, they were made in such a way that they're actually generators for energy. Just like how when Nikola Tesla came up with the idea for what's it called? The idea for that energy machine that he wanted to create, and the Westinghouse guy or whatever, Weinstein or whatever his name is, the guy that owns one of those banks there, he closed the whole program when he found out what was happening because he was helping to fund it, thinking he was going to be able to make money off of it, and Nikola Tesla was secretly making it so that he could try to give the whole world, or at least a major portion of the world, free electricity. And then he stopped the whole program. But that whole concept he came up with comes from the concept of the Egyptians with the pyramids, because the pyramids are generators, and once used properly, the pyramids, it puts electricity into the air, and then whatever you're building, you're using.
I would like to see a computer simulation, like a virtual like simulation, exactly what they did, like what they were used for, like a real simulation, computer graphics.
Well, that's the thing. The pyramids were used for a lot of things, Can't remember everything in general, but like, there's also another thing which is funny, because black people are very spiritual, and they're like, the Egyptians in particular too, man, because they mapped the stars. They know so much about the stars and the universe and stuff. That's the reason why when you go to Egypt, you're not allowed to take photos. You're not allowed to take videos of anything that has to do with the hieroglyphs, because the secrets of how they did everything are all written on the walls.
Over there.
So if you want to learn true history, you just need to be able to decipher the walls on Egypt, and you're going to know the truth about reality and history at the same time. Because the world we live in is not what it really seems, though. But at the end of the day, whatever, with the Egyptians and the pyramids, like, the energy generators, you know what I mean?
They're moving.
It pumps energy into the air, and then whatever you're building, you're obviously building the adapter.
Oh yeah, wireless
to be able
energy.
To pull the energy out of the That's what he was trying to do. To a point, exactly. And we kind of use that same form of technology with the wireless cell phones. because that's electricity. If the government wanted to, they can actually charge our phones. Like, even when we unplug our phone and we take our battery out of our phone is still working. They can fucking record us, they can take videos and pictures with the battery out of the phone. And that's because we're already using this technology, but they won't let us have access to it, even though our cell phones can use it. You know what I mean? Exactly. Think about glass. When glass came out, glass was out for like, I don't even know how long. Let's say, as an example, glass was out for 40 years before common people got to use glass. You know what I mean? Like, that's the same concept. Or like, let's say glass was out for 100 years before people actually got to use glass. Only the rich and the most important people got to use glass. Let's say cups or glass, whatever, glass containers. And all the poor people, they didn't even know what glass was yet. You know what I mean? It's the same concept with the technologies we have now.
Right.
It's crazy though.
And what do you feel about the levitation? Like, how are they gonna commercially introduce it to us? The anti-gravity.
Levitation?
Anti-gravity cars and shit like that.
I don't know, because it's not really going to be a proper form of levitation. I don't think so. Because if they're doing what I think they're doing, they're just lining the streets with these type of magnet things, and it's just going to be magnets floating, making the car float over the magnets, right? So it's not really a proper levitation system. And the reason why they want to do it that way is because once they make the roads with all the magnets in it and everything to hook up to the car, to even make them possibly float, they'll also be able to control the car, to guide it down, to slow it down, to stop the car. So if you're driving in the car, they can stop it if you're on the run from the police. The car just won't move. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I think they're trying to go with it, if they do it.
Shit, they crazy.
Yeah.
Well, what do you feel about the they call it now? They say there's people that see like a real werewolf. They call it the dog man. You ever heard of that shit?
I don't know.
No.
No, I didn't hear about that. But I will say, they do a lot of. We don't see this shit happening, but they do a lot of fucking government testing on humans and animals and mixing the DNA and trying to see what's gonna happen and what they create. Like, they have a thing going on here in Montreal.
Enemy flamethrower observed.
You could even look it up, because it is public. It's outside of Montreal. There are these companies making these new type of fibers called aramid fiber. And aramid fiber is made from spider goats. Have you ever heard of spider goats? I'm sure you've heard of spider goats.
The spider web?
They're goats that have the DNA of spiders in them, a specific spider in them. So what happens is when the goats produce the milk, because spiders can't produce a lot of silk, right?
Yeah.
And spider silk is like the strongest thing that you can create in the world. Like, if you take like spider silk, if I remember correctly, I think if you have spider silk that's the size and thickness of a rubber band, you can actually stretch that silk across a runway and stop a jet plane as it's coming down to land. It'll literally stop the jet plane in its tracks. That's how strong spider. Well, no, because each spider has different strength, like tensile strength. Like their silk is strong. There's one specific spider in the world that has the strongest spider silk, and that spider is the spider they're using in the DNA of the goat, because that's the one that would stop the jet plane in its tracks if it was a rubber band's thickness and length and everything stretch across a field. And what they're doing is they take the milk that has the spider DNA in it, which means it has the DNA to create silk in the milk. So they put it in this special machine that turns the milk into silk. So you can produce a whole bunch of milk every day from the goats, but a spider can. But the amount it would take, let's say, to make a suit made out of spider silk, you would probably need to milk a spider for like a year or two just to make one suit. You know what I mean? How many hundreds of spiders, thousands of spiders, just to make the one suit? You know what I mean? So this way, with the DNA inside of the milk of the goat, they can probably produce suits like in a day. They could probably be able to make a hundred by making a couple thousand goats and producing milk, turning the milk into the silk that they need to be able to produce the clothing. And the aramid armor that they're going to be making here out of Montreal is it's going to be the strongest fiber ever when it comes to bulletproof. Like literally, you can make bulletproof clothes made out of silk that'll be bulletproof. And that's the type of shit they're making now in the future. For the future. Aramid armor is one of them. And there's different types of variations that they're making now of what they can do with it. So they've been messing with DNA for a long time. So any wolfman or dogman that they have, it wouldn't surprise me. But I wouldn't say it's a natural thing. It'd probably be something that, like I'm saying, was done in the lab as a test and might have escaped.
What you think that chupacabra shit was back in the 90s, bro?
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Some experiment.
It was some type of an experiment that went wrong. You know what? Let me see this. All of the time when you hear of cows get destroyed and ripped apart, and like their insides are eaten out or destroyed or mangled from the inside out or outside in, when they do their DNA mixing, right? Not all the time do they do it like a test baby, where they're gonna put it in like let's say a computer container or whatever, a digital container, and raise it to full health inside of a tube. It's sometimes what they do is they'll take their experiments and they'll go somewhere out in a remote place on somebody's farm, and they'll impregnate all the cows with the DNA of the mixed DNA that they've put inside of the cows, and they'll use the cows as containers. And then the cows afterwards will either rip open with these things that come out of them, and they collect them, or they'll bring the cows in, and that's where the cows go missing, or the stomachs are ripped open because they're collecting the fetuses and the stuff from the cows. A lot of the stuff is scientific research they're doing, man. And they make us think it's aliens.
Oh, that's some crazy shit to say, yo. In a good way. Yeah, in a good way.
It's truth, man. I'm not lying. All the shit people wonder what the fuck it is. At the end of the day, it's us.
Don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. I'm a little tired, so I'm feeling a little woozy. I'm not gonna give up. He's got a lot.
Eyes in the sky.
What do you have? Right here, probably. He's got a lot. Ooh.
Fire!
Who's Cave Nation?
That's my homie Cave Boy.
Okay.
Reloading! Keep him busy! I'm reloading!
Hell yeah, I want some damn tacos, yo. Who wants tacos right now? Tacos sound good right now, right? Yeah, got a lot. Yo, you think the Egyptians used to levitate and all that? I heard some shit like that before.
But what do you mean, levitate things or levitate themselves?
Like, yeah, not the things themselves.
They had high magic, so yeah, I believe they could.
Like spirits lifting them up, or they using their
Yeah.
third eye,
How do you think they
100%
made the
of their
pyramids?
brain?
How do you think they made the pyramids? You know how they did the pyramids, right?
Good. Let me hear your theory. Nebhedu's theory live on Crypto Cutter Light on how the pyramids were done. Go ahead, you got the floor, Nebhedu.
It's not a theory. It's the truth. It's called auditory levitation. You use sound to be able to nullify the weight of objects, and they become weightless. And then you can move them like nothing.
Awesome. I heard that before. I thought you was
lived
gonna
in-
say that they were using the spirits. That's why I was like,
No.
I want to hear this.
No.
Oh,
They're just using auditory levitation. They're nullifying the weight to cancel it out.
and what did they? How did they place the blocks in place?
Well, they had people moving them. If I remember, I think it's like
Care
a
package on the
specific way you have these special types of horns that they had. And the horns were fit in a specific order that when you, like, place an object in a specific area where the horns are facing on that specific spot, like where the vibrations move, it nullifies an object. And I think it could even push the objects too.
Wow, that's decent technology.
Yeah, man. They always talk about the Aboriginal people being tribes people like are cannibals and crazy and evil and all this shit. Yet we have huge cultures, and we invented math and science and cultures that people never even knew about. I mean, things people didn't even know about yet. Even by today's standards, they don't even understand how we built most of the stuff that's already here.
Right. Anybody agree with all this knowledge and y'all liking this knowledge? Hit that like button.
They'd rather say it's aliens than to say we did it.
salvo commenced. Clearing the skies.
You think there's aliens out there in different planets and all that?
I'm still not really certain about that.
And if the Earth
That's
is
just my
flat,
opinion.
why the moon not flat? It's your boy, Cripto Light.
The moon's actually close to us. It's not as far as we think it is.
So what is the moon?
I don't even know, to be honest with you.
Wow.
That's
The moon don't look
a little
flat.
bit out of my research yet. No, the moon's not flat. It's actually a round thing. A ball of light. A hollow ball of light. In my
That's
opinion.
interesting. This is like, if I'm on the moon, I'm looking at the Earth, look like a circle. I'm on Earth looking at the moon, look like a circle, then they both circles, right?
What, if you're on the Earth looking at the moon?
Yeah, vice versa.
No. I don't think if you looked at the Earth from the moon, I don't think it's going to be flat, circle. It's going to be flat. That's my opinion. At the end of the day, all of the cultures and civilizations around the world knew it was flat. There's civilizations that were in Africa that knew and charted the stars in our galaxy before any other, let's say, philosopher or civilized person even knew they were there to begin with. We already had these things charted. And some tribes in Africa even had other galaxies charted, like star charts for the stars and satellites around those planets for other galaxies, had proven them to be correct. So if we've had that type of knowledge, then how is it when they say the Earth is flat, we're going to ignorantly, boldly say, no, it's round, all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Like, if you look at every culture, every single culture, the Earth is flat. Even in the Bible, it says the Earth is flat. I don't even agree with the Bible, but there is truth in the Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every religion, even though it's all created for control, it is it's made out of truth, because in order to hook people into going into religion, there has to be truth in it. You have to feel like what you're listening or what you're believing in is real, right? Yeah. Just like how when they talk about the devil wants to be so close and just as high as God to be able to overthrow him. How is he going to do that? The only way he's going to do that is by installing the same type of rule system that God has in place, but in such a way that there's little twists, little minor details that make evil good or make evil seem like it's okay. That's pretty much the way the world's been going. We do things thinking, oh, it's great, it's good, it's going to benefit the whole world and this and that, but then when you look into it further down the line and you really get into it, it's really messing us up, man. It's messing up the whole world.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like as an example, just like a dollar store. People around the world love dollar stores, but dollar stores, they support slave labor, because all those stuff you're getting from China and all those places around the world, these toys are being mass produced by little kids and families that like are trying to make money and maybe get paid like $5 a day to sit in a room with no air conditioning and build toys all day, you know what I mean? And then we're buying them in dollar stores. A dollar store supports slave labor, and we go to them like it's nothing, you know? It's things like that I'm saying, like the way the world is going, we're becoming rotten, where it's bad.
What? That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I know. It is. It only gets worse, man. The world